Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to Commsverse. This session is called Teams in Motion. Discover how Teams is helping your mobile workforce. It will be presented by Craig Perez and Jacob Lauritsen. Floor is yours, guys.
Thanks, Johan, and welcome to Commsverse and this Spectralink session. I'm very pleased to be here, part of this groundbreaking event, and I think it's been a steep learning curve for all of us, but Mark's done a fantastic job on his team. So welcome. Quite an interesting topic to cover today, where Spectralink deliver Teams in Motion, and it's all about mobility and integrating with Teams and the UC platform. Obviously, the ecosystem of all the vendors and solutions that you'll see around Commsverse complement and fit into the whole sort of strategy and components delivering this integration. And we feel we've got a unique position in delivering mobility as part of this ecosystem. And I want to walk through today how we can do that and bring some value and aid end users and enterprise customers with the inclusion of their mobile workforce and still getting all of the sort of benefits of the UC capability. So we're going to focus on Teams in Motion and some of our case studies of customers in certain key verticals that have delivered this, and to talk about the history of where we've come from and some of the challenges we've overcome and some of the new developments we've got in working solutions and bringing control and management to you, the customer. This is our sort of tagline, and you know, I'm Craig. I've been with Spectralink 7 years. My colleague Jacob has been with us for 20 odd years, and we've seen a great deal of change. But really, we're enabling excellence by empowering the mobile workers who are usually in the factory, on the shop floor, in the hospital, or in the retail outlets, but getting them connected into the whole UC strategy can sometimes be further down the agenda than the office workers. So we've worked closely with the Microsoft team, MVP community in over the years delivering solutions that bring that connectivity to the mobile workers. And there are some challenges that that's brought up, which we'll go into more depth on, but really delivering connectivity, information and data on the move. So things are moving on quickly in this world of mobile data and connectivity and communication, just voice and email, now collaboration, security. We talk to many customers about their needs and where they are on the journey of this end-to-end mobility and the vision that they want. But you've also got to consider where the customer is coming from. So what have they already got installed from a infrastructure, from an investment, moving from an on-premise maybe to the cloud, but that on-premise, things like the building infrastructure, the cabling, moving into shared resources and data centers across many sites. So a number of customers will look at where they want to get to, but also how do they migrate from where they are today. And that's very important to understand. I mentioned earlier the history of Spectralink and our relationship with Microsoft. We've been working with Microsoft on the various iterations of platforms for 9 or 10 years. And we've had lots of solutions delivered from Skype for Business on-premise to online, to cloud, Teams, 365, etc. And that journey has been quite interesting when you're involved in large projects, which we have. The customers maybe started with one solution, and during the course of the rollout of the project, moved to another solution. And we've seen that a number of times. So we have a fairly large installed base of customers on Skype for Business that are now moving to Microsoft Teams, and that takes some adjustment of the solution and how we deliver it. So it's a long sort of winding road that we've been through, migrating customers, but certainly with Wi-Fi and migration to the cloud and now LTE, we have a solution that covers sort of all those options, and even to a point where we're developing our DECT infrastructure with our virtual server and direct routing into Teams. So, very important question for how important are the mobile workforce that you may have, and the sort of information that they need to have good communication and connectivity on the move, the ability to communicate and also securely, and managing an estate of devices, which we'll come on to in more depth. But when your workforce is made up of various types of workers and the different workflows, it's very important that they have access now included into that UC strategy, but also having the availability of devices that suit them and their sort of position, that suits them maybe in the factory, in the hospital, or in the retail outlet is very relevant. So keeping your teams in motion, but also giving them the right tools is really important. And we see, you know, real-time access and connectivity is crucial, particularly we're strong in healthcare. We do a lot of work with hospitals, and getting the clinicians and nurses information on the move is an increasingly important part of their workflow and efficiency. As this world is changing and going more mobile, device management and mobile device management is a very large, fast-growing market, and this is something that is evolving and growing and changing every day. And it's very important that in the hands of the IT team within the enterprise, it's not just about mobile device management now, it's also about managing the estate, controlling the estate, and analyzing the estate for quality communication, usage, security. And as we'll come on to, we feel that there's some value in delivering our management platform for mobile devices, which we call AMI, and this brings more control, more granular information and analytics to the mobile workforce, but still delivering that connectivity into the UC platform. So I talked about the Microsoft relationship going back 9 or 10 years. Spectralink has been around over 30 years, and we've been solving these communication challenges, of which there are many, for that period of time. And to illustrate and to show you the evidence of this, here are some museum pieces of the handsets and solutions that we've been delivering from around 1990 onwards. And the fact that we were heavily involved in the development of voice over Wi-Fi and worked with a number of key partners in the PBX world, which you'll see people like Nortel and Avaya, means that we've got, you know, strong credibility in the development and delivery, and played a part in actually creating and inventing voice over Wi-Fi. And for those that can remember, Wi-Fi was very low bandwidth back in those days, shared media, 2 megabit, lots of issues. So prioritization of voice packets over the network was really essential. We were successful in creating a range of products that succeeded, bringing it up to date. The first Google certified smartphone, and moving on to some of our newer technology in the enterprise space with things like the Versity smartphone device is really important, that we can control and deliver quality voice roaming. That's another sort of strong skill set of Spectralink, is the ability to roam on Wi-Fi proactively. So some of the challenges that we've overcome in those 30 years and still see today. Putting information in the right hands and quickly, making sure the shop floor workers are part of the UC strategy, managing the security and control of those devices. And a lot of customers are having challenges with a mixed estate of different devices at a different age, with different capabilities, and the life cycle. One of our strong points is we make enterprise devices that last several years, and you can predict the life cycle on them. And BYOD maybe not be suitable or durable enough for many end users and enterprise customers. Communication and operate securely. Again, integration with the actual infrastructure and UC, but devices for 24-hour operation, and interoperability of the UC platforms, and service of lost devices, broken devices. Certainly some of our larger customers have really suffered with trying to manage that in-house and IT team, and adding headcount to control the service impact of broken devices. So all of these are some of the challenges that we've been able to overcome and put solutions in place for. So our Team in Motion proposition is basically about, you being secure in the knowledge that we can integrate with that platform, whether it be DECT, Wi-Fi, LTE securely, that we have device management that brings some value in controlling costs. With Amy, you'll be able to analyze and track analytics and devices. With market-leading mobility solutions, we've got integration of third-party recognition and awards on our products, and we offer support 7x24. That's what we call our SpectraCare maintenance services for devices and replacement services. So we're with you. We're with you in potentially the design and the deployment, and I'll talk more about that in our service capability. And we can take you from a legacy infrastructure into the cloud, and we can deal with old analog and digital cabling, which may be a problem, and some of those buildings with very thick walls. We've done things like theatres, prisons, to migrate to an IP-based solution. So, mobile workforce, wherever they're working, with multiple devices, and connecting them into a secure end-to-end infrastructure is really important. And your sector being accountable and dependable as an advisor, helping with advice on integration, on the ecosystem, third-party products, but delivering a robust solution that functions well in your environment. And some of the environments can be quite hazardous and difficult. I mentioned Amy, and this is a centralized management platform for both DECT and for Wi-Fi and LTE devices. And this offers the opportunity to analyze, control, manage, and report on the estate of mobile devices, and certainly on our booth, and my colleague Jacob can run a demonstration for you if it's of any interest for you going forward. What Amy does here is, depending whether you have a DECT, LTE or Wi-Fi, it can overcome some of these challenges with connectivity, analysing gaps in coverage, device battery life, the use of that when they need replacing, adoption and consistent productivity, which gives you a good return on investment. Knowing where there's a problem within the coverage, within the network, people who've had dropped calls, being able to analyse that without having to mobilise resources and engineers can be extremely cost saving and beneficial. So some of the issues you can see here on the wheel, how I can do more, save time, see what's going on, control applications, etc., etc. So very powerful tool. And here's some screenshots from the sort of dashboard about usage of devices or use of the infrastructure, whether it be DECT or Wi-Fi, analysing calls, locations, and being able to put alarms and alerts upon those devices. So very powerful, and giving a centralized control platform to the IT team of that mobile estate and the devices in the hands of the mobile workers. So what do we do to help you? Well, we have consultation process where we can help with the design and the discovery of what you need. We can do things like testing, proof of concept, customer assessment, site surveys, particularly for radio technology like DECT. We would always recommend a solid site survey for large sites to determine you have the right coverage, and radio coverage for areas where there may be reflections with glass and metal is a very difficult thing to assess. So experience and knowledge is important there. Network readiness, understanding, is the network set up correctly? For example, if you're running voice over Wi-Fi, are those packets prioritized correctly? So we can help with readiness analysis or audit, and then recommendations on the design and location. And working with partners, we can deliver project management, deployment services and software assurance, and then really the emphasis on the solution being part of an enterprise solution, things like support and spares management for up to 5 years, with also things like the network management I talked about with Amy, being there and available to control and manage, and even to a point where it can do diagnosis of the network. So soup to nuts springs to mind about being able to consult, design, test and deliver, and then support. So we have a number of partners in our ecosystem, and extend capabilities. We work through partners, but we have tailored solutions, and particularly working with Ribbon and Audio Codes, we've delivered a number of successful projects with them, and it's all been tested and certified as a Microsoft solution. So just going towards the end of the PowerPoint, this is all about teams in motion and mobility. So wherever you work, however you connect, and whenever you need, information on the move, we can look at a solution that is catered to inclusion of the mobile workforce into that infrastructure. And that can be a hybrid, a cloud, an on-premise solution. We can deal with old technology. We can move to IP and the cloud from legacy infrastructure. So we've got quite a long history of delivering Teams in Motion from the very sort of early Skype days right now through to Microsoft Teams. And that might be through a gateway, that might be for direct integration, but we can choose whichever technology that fits you and your mobile workforce. So I hope that's been reasonably concise and informative. Here is our link for our booth. You're very welcome to join us at the booth if you have any ongoing discussions or questions. Any questions on the presentation?
Yeah, hi Craig. I don't have any Q&A in the queue. So for now, I don't think there's any questions.
Okay.
I would say let's give it a couple of minutes extra time to see if questions are coming in.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, I think there's no more questions. I updated the URL for the Spectralink virtual booth in the Q&A, so you can go to the Q&A panel and actually click on the link to connect up with Craig or his colleagues. So I would say thank you very much for joining this session, and let's talk later.
Yeah, thanks everybody.